Hi there, Laurel Beard here, and welcome to another Simply Card Making video in my series here. And today I'm going to show you how I make these two very simple cards to make using masking. I'm going to be using some liquid masks called Liquid Frisket. So I'm using this Thankful set by Ellen Hudson, the Essentials by Ellen line, designed by Julie Ebersole. I'm going to start by stamping my sentiment because I don't know if y'all are like me, but I always design a card and then I'm like, hello, where do I put the sentiment? So this time I am stamping the sentiment first. Then I'm going to start out with the pumpkin image because that's the image that I want on in the front. And I'm going to center it up as best I can by eyeballing it, and I'm just going to stamp that pumpkin first. And then I'm going to go in and I've got a paper mask. I'm going to be using two different kind of masks. I'm using paper mask and liquid masks. So now I'm going to go in and kind of figure out layout of how I want to add these other images here. I want to kind of create a cluster here. This will be a great Thanksgiving card, I think. So I'm just going to go in and just stamp the leaves. Then we've got the little fruit. And I am stamping with Memento Tuxedo black ink, by the way. So I'm just about done here. I'm going to stamp this final image. All this is from that same set called Thankful. I'm trying to not have to get another mask out. I'm so lazy. So I had some Post-it tape there, so I just grabbed that off my desk. So I'm going to peel up that paper mask, and you see I've got this nice little cluster of images here. So now it's time to use the liquid mask because I'm going to do some watercoloring over the top. Now this is a little gadget I picked up. It's called the Color Shaper, and it is for liquid masks because it has a silicone tip there on that one end. It comes with the brush tip, but it also comes with that silicone tip, and that's what you'll use for using liquid masks. It's got a nice point on the end, and because it's silicone, it's easy cleanup. So no more ruining your paintbrushes, even though, you know, you're probably using some inexpensive ones. Still, it's such a pain to clean, and even when you do clean it, mine still got ruined. I've ruined so many paintbrushes. So this little silicone tip is awesome. So I'm just dipping into the liquid Frisket and I'm just applying. I'm trying to apply a thin layer, and I'm also trying not to go over the liquid mask twice because when you do it starts getting clumpy and stuff. So I'm trying to be real careful here. So this silicone nib is absolutely brilliant, and I wish I had invented it myself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going in, I'm going in and dabbing because I want to make sure that my whole entire image is completely covered with this liquid mask up to the edges so no watercolor seeps through when I go and apply the watercolor. So I'm trying to be real careful here, but at the same time I don't want to go over the same spot twice. So yeah. So why I am using a liquid mask and not the paper mask is because when you add watercolor over the top of a paper mask, it is probably going to ruin that paper mask and seep underneath the paper, and then your image won't be masked off. So that's why I'm using both today. That's why I'm using liquid right here. So to clean the tip, I just took a wet wipe and wiped it off. I've got a bucket of water there. I just swished it around. I wiped it off again with my wet wipe, and hello, all clean. See, brilliant. Why didn't we think of this? All right, so I've got two made because I tested out the applicator first before I made a video on it just to make sure it worked great and everything. So you know that your liquid Frisket is dry when it turns tan and it's not, you know, sticky to the touch here. So I'm going to go in with my Perfect Pearls here. I'm just going to go ahead and use the brush that came on that same applicator. Why not? Test that out too. So I'm putting a wash of water down onto my cardstock. I am using B watercolored paper. So I put a wash of water down first because in doing that, the water does all of the blending for you. I wanted kind of a messy watercolored look. I didn't want anything contained, constrained, or anything like that. So I'm just going in, I'm adding in two different oranges. I've got like a light orange and then almost a persimmon color. And I'm just going in and just playing around, really no rhyme or reason. And you can see when that watercolor sits on top of that Frisket, you can see it's just sitting on top. So it is not getting in that image. So when I peel back all of the Frisket, the liquid mask rather, those images will be protected and remain whatever color it was. I want my pumpkins and all of my little fruits and stuff to be white. I want them to be the color of the cardstock. So I'm going to do this one more time, and this time I'm going to go in with a different color scheme. I'm going to go in with kind of reds, keeping it fall, autumnish, you know. So again, put the water down first, and when you do that, the water does all of the work for you. You can go in afterwards and spray it with some water like I did on my previous card. And I find that it doesn't always look really pretty when you put the watercolor down at first, but when it dries, it's really quite stunning. So if you can, step away from the watercolors and just let it dry and see how it looks. So miraculously it's dry. No, I'm kidding. I went and, had a sandwich or something and let it dry. And now to remove the liquid Frisket, all I'm doing is pushing it away with my finger. Now I pushed a little too hard on this pumpkin, and some of the outline of the pumpkin, the ink came up, but I'm going to fix that. I'm certainly not going to toss this card after I put the work into it. So again, you can also use an adhesive eraser. I think EK Success makes one, or you can probably use a regular eraser. You know those pink erasers you can get from the office stores or the Targets that you get, that's in your school supply list at the beginning of the year? That would probably work for this too, or just use your finger, whatever floats your boat. And then just push all of that mask away. Now I'm going to go back in with the Copic multi-liner. I believe this is the 0.5 tip, and I'm going to color in all the lines of that pumpkin and fix that image. And I'm coloring in all the lines, even the lines that aren't messed up, because I want to make sure the black is consistent throughout that entire pumpkin, if that makes any sense. So the recipient will never know that I made a little oopsie there. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of these card panels, and I'm going to put them down onto a top folding card that's Nina Desert Storm top folding card. So beautiful, very beautiful craft colored cardstock, excuse me. So again, I'm putting a lot of adhesive down because it's watercolor and sometimes water can warp your card. So I'm just making sure I've got a good amount of adhesive down. Then I'm going to take my We Are Memory Keepers. I always have to say that slowly because I get tongue-tied when I don't. And I'm going to round the corners of these guys just to kind of soften it up a little bit. And I use the 1/4 inch. This is some Irresistible textured spray. And when it dries, it has a little bit of texture to it. It's quite cool. It comes in a bunch of colors. And I'm going to go in with black. And I wanted some of those flicks on the fruit there. So I'm making sure that I place a little bit of those flicks right in the pumpkin. I thought that was kind of cool too. I always use the stir stick for any kind of mist. I just feel like I get better application. Then I took a Copic liner again, or a Copic multi-liner I think it's called, and just made some dash marks around the edges. And here's the 2 cards right here. So yeah, super fun. So we did some paper masking and some liquid masking and perfect pearls. And right here are 2 videos you can click on if you want to check out some other videos that I've made using the Peerless Watercolors. I think I just said perfect pearls. It's Peerless Watercolors. I need to go have some coffee, right? So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.